Well, basic science is really important because we don't know where the next big discovery is going to come from, and we always need to have new things in the pipeline. And so we need to be looking in lots of nooks and crannies, seemingly little obscure corners of biology, because something truly groundbreaking can come out of that, and it does.
Basic science research is the foundation of all medical discoveries. We tend to think about things as clinical science or translational science or basic science, but really they're all the same thing.
It's hard to underestimate discoveries. I mean, who would have predicted that studying a mold would lead to penicillin, for example?
You need to know the details of how the normal system works to really understand what goes wrong in disease. So, for example, in Alzheimer's disease, for years we've known about the genes involved in degeneration of the brain during Alzheimer's disease, but we really had no way to attack it, to address it. And really, basic science over the last decade or so has really sort of defined molecular mechanisms involved in Alzheimer's disease, and so has given us molecular targets to really try to develop therapeutics.
Funding basic science is funding medicine, but it's being part of the discovery process. It's allowing what we are best at as a society, which is really the creation of ideas. It is allowing us to be entrepreneurs of ideas. When you invest in ideas and the prospect, the potential of ideas, really your contribution is limitless. You just don't know where those dollars, where that interest, where that assistance is going to end. So it's much more open. It is has the potential of having much more impact on human health because you're investing at the start of the process.
I think Hopkins has this great edge and advantage over many other places because the integration of basic science and medical practice is so tight here across all the departments. So I see the unrestricted funding in particular as important for our role here at Johns Hopkins, where we are biomedical scientists in the context of a hospital and a medical school, and trying to bring this whole program into synchrony so that from the very basic science to the invention of novel therapeutic approaches, there's a free flow of information.
There are not a lot of ways to get funds to fulfill needs as they come and provide you with the flexibility to really maximize your output. So, for example, we apply for a grant from the NIH. There's a whole cycle of review process that it has to go through. Decisions on funding are made. It's months later by the time you actually receive the funding. Now, if things change in the environment, if new opportunities arise, there's really no flexibility to respond to those needs and to be really at the forefront and moving ahead and responding to those needs quickly.
I think we are currently losing an entire generation of young scientists because they see how difficult it is to get money to do science, and they end up becoming lawyers and businessmen and other occupations, which is perfectly fine, but the United States is falling way behind other countries now in science and mathematics and all these scientific related disciplines, and this is really going to hurt our country in the long run. In order to keep fundamental discovery alive and hopefully try to get a new generation of American scientists, we really need help. I would argue that if a donor wants to have a large impact on, say, Alzheimer's disease or diabetes or common diseases affecting mankind, the money spent on basic research is in the long run going to have a much larger effect.